Dembélé and Mbappe! Olise allowed to go and feed it through. Olise, oh sweet.
There was a time when the football world feared France because of individual brilliance, a team blessed with extraordinary talent, a team that could turn one magical moment into victory, a team that lifted the world in Moscow and almost did it again in Qatar. But this France feels completely different, because this isn't simply another generation of gifted footballers. This is a football machine. A team that doesn't just beat opponents, they suffocate them, they overwhelm them, and by the time 90 minutes are over, you're simply relieved that the nightmare has ended. Welcome to the 2026 FIFA World Cup, where one nation has quietly become every contender's worst possible nightmare: France. Before this tournament even kicked off, the football world already knew France would arrive as one of the favorites, but nobody expected them to look this terrifying. Drawn alongside Norway, Senegal, and Iraq, many predicted Didier Deschamps' men would comfortably finish top of the group. They did. But the frightening part wasn't qualifying, it was how they qualified. 3 victories, goals flowing from every direction, 3 goals or more against every opponent, relentless pressing, lightning transitions, attacks coming from both wings, midfield dominance, rock-solid defending, and a confidence that makes them look like they're playing a completely different sport. Alongside Germany and the Netherlands, France became one of only 3 nations to score 10 goals during the group stage. But unlike everyone else, France looked like they still hadn't reached top gear, because every attack, every counter, every movement looked rehearsed to perfection. This wasn't chaos, this was calculated destruction. And after the heartbreak of losing the 2022 World Cup Final, you can almost feel the hunger inside this squad. The pain of Qatar never disappeared. It simply transformed into motivation. Now they aren't chasing redemption anymore. They're chasing revenge. And every great French team begins with one man, Kylian Mbappé, a player whose club season was anything but easy. His first campaign at Real Madrid was filled with criticism, questions, injuries, doubts. Every week, someone questioned whether he was still the unstoppable force that once terrified Europe. But the World Cup has always been Mbappe's kingdom. When he wears blue, something changes. Pressure disappears, confidence explodes, and defenders suddenly remember why they've spent years fearing his name. This tournament has reminded everyone exactly who Kylian Mbappé is. Not just France's captain, not just Real Madrid's superstar, but perhaps the greatest World Cup player of his generation. 6 goals, 2 assists, historic performances, records falling almost every match. Against Senegal, he announced his arrival with authority. 2 goals, 1 clinical finish, 1 breathtaking strike from nearly 30 yards that crashed into the top corner. A goal worthy of opening every World Cup highlight reel for decades. Those 2 goals didn't simply secure victory, they made history. Mbappé officially became France's all-time leading goal scorer, surpassing Olivier Giroud and writing another chapter into French football history. But he wasn't finished. Against Iraq, he struck twice again. Even after a lengthy weather delay interrupted the match, his rhythm never disappeared. Almost 3 hours separated his 2 goals. It didn't matter. The hunger remained exactly the same. Every touch carried purpose. Every sprint terrified defenders. Every finish looked inevitable. Then came Sweden, the knockout rounds, where legends separate themselves from stars. Mbappé produced another masterpiece. 1 stunning solo goal. Another composed finish. And with those strikes, he became the greatest knockout stage goal scorer in World Cup history. Think about that for a moment. Among every legendary striker this competition has ever witnessed, Ronaldo, Miroslav Klose, Pelé, Gerd Muller, Lionel Messi, Mbappe now owns a record that belongs only to him. 18 World Cup goals, still only 27 years old, and somehow it feels like he's only getting started. But here's what makes this French side even more dangerous. Everything doesn't depend on Mbappe anymore, because standing beside him, it's perhaps the most intelligent creator France has produced in years, Michael Olise. Football often celebrates goals, but true football lovers know the pass before the goal can sometimes be even more beautiful. Olise understands that better than almost anyone. After joining Bayern Munich, his game exploded to another level. Under Vincent Kompany, he developed into one of Europe's most complete attacking creators. A winger, a number 10, a playmaker, sometimes all three within the same attack. That's what makes him impossible to defend. Mark him wide, he drifts centrally. Close the middle, he appears between the lines. Track him everywhere, he creates space for someone else. Against Senegal, he completely controlled France's attack. Officially named Player of the Match, Olise orchestrated everything. Starting from the right wing before moving into a central role, he suddenly became unplayable. His vision unlocked Senegal's defense repeatedly. His perfectly weighted through ball released Mbappe for the opening goal. 4 key passes, outstanding composure, almost 90% passing accuracy. The numbers were impressive, but the eye test was even better. He wasn't just creating chances, he was controlling the rhythm of the entire game. Against Iraq, another masterclass. 2 assists, chance after chance, perfect decision-making. Every dangerous French move seemed to begin at his feet. By the end of the match, Olise had climbed to the top of the tournament's assist charts. And then came Sweden, where he somehow reached another level. A bicycle kick that smashed against the post. A beautiful nutmeg assist for Bradley Barcola. Another perfectly weighted through ball for Mbappe second. 2 assists, standing ovation, job done. At this point, calling Michael Olise underrated almost feels disrespectful. He has become the heartbeat of France's attack, the player connecting every piece together, the calm mind inside football's fastest storm. And then, as if Mbappe and Olise weren't enough, France unleashed something even scarier. Pure speed, pure chaos, pure unpredictability. Ousmane Dembélé, Bradley Barcola, Désiré Doué. 3 PSG stars, 3 completely different weapons. One terrifying objective: destroy defenders before they even have time to think. If football had a definition for controlled chaos, it would probably look like Ousmane Dembélé. For years, he was football's greatest what if. A teenager who dazzled at Borussia Dortmund, a record-breaking move to Barcelona. Unbelievable talent, unbelievable speed. Yet injuries and inconsistency always seemed to stop him just before greatness. Many believed he would never become the player everyone expected. But football has a funny way of rewarding patience. His move to Paris Saint-Germain changed everything. The hesitation disappeared, the confidence returned. The finishing improved, the decision-making became sharper. And suddenly, the football world wasn't talking about potential anymore. They were talking about one of the best wingers on the planet. A Ballon d'Or winner, a back-to-back UEFA Champions League champion, and now a World Cup superstar. Dembélé has been devastating throughout this tournament. Goals, assists, relentless pressing, and that unforgettable first-half hat-trick against Norway that reminded everyone why defenders hate facing him. His chemistry with Mbappe has become almost telepathic. Sometimes they don't even need to look at each other. One starts the run, the other already knows where the pass belongs. It feels less like 2 players and more like one footballing mind split into 2 bodies. And then comes Désiré Doué, one of the brightest young stars in world football. Only 21 years old, yet already playing with the confidence of a veteran. Doué doesn't dribble around defenders, he dribbles through them. Left foot, right foot, it genuinely doesn't matter. His close control is breathtaking. His acceleration is explosive. His body feints leave defenders chasing shadows. He plays with the freedom of street football and the intelligence of elite tactical coaching. Fresh off consecutive Champions League triumphs with PSG, Doué arrived at this World Cup carrying enormous expectations, and he hasn't disappointed. His first World Cup goal against Norway wasn't just another statistic, it was the arrival of another future superstar. Even when Didier Deschamps has chosen to use him from the bench, Doué has remained a constant threat, injecting fresh energy into matches already dominated by France. Then there's Bradley Barcola, perhaps the fastest player in this French squad. Every time he receives the ball, stadiums hold their breath, because everyone knows what's about to happen. Acceleration, direct running, fearless dribbling. He attacks space with complete confidence. Against Senegal, he produced a brilliant finish after timing his diagonal run perfectly. Against Norway, he added another assist. Against Sweden, he calmly buried France's second goal to kill the contest. Barcola doesn't simply stretch defenses, he tears them apart. And if all of those attacking weapons somehow aren't enough, France still have Rayan Cherki waiting on the bench, a footballer who seems to play without limits, without fear, without predictable patterns. Cherki represents pure imagination, the kind of player who attempts passes nobody else even considers. His ambidextrous ability makes him almost impossible to read. He'll nutmeg you with his right foot, chip you with his left, spin away from pressure like he's dancing in a cage far too small for his talent. And perhaps the funniest part? His personality. Every teammate describes him as one of the funniest characters inside the dressing room. Always smiling, always entertaining, always unpredictable, which somehow mirrors the way he plays football. France don't just have depth, they have luxury. But every spectacular attack begins with complete trust behind it. And France possess one of the most balanced midfields in international football. Aurélien Tchouaméni and Adrien Rabiot. Different players, one purpose: control everything. Tchouaméni is the anchor, the silent protector, the player who reads danger before anyone else notices it. He intercepts passes that shouldn't be reachable, wins duels that seem impossible, and immediately transforms defense into attack with calm, intelligent distribution. Alongside him is Adrien Rabiot. Elegant, powerful, relentless. A midfielder capable of carrying the ball 30 or 40 yards before calmly picking the perfect pass. His physical presence allows France to dominate midfield battles, while his tactical awareness ensures balance whenever the front four explode forward. Together, they give Didier Deschamps exactly what every elite coach dreams of: freedom. Because when your midfield protects every transition, your attackers can play without fear. Even when rotation became necessary during the group stage, France never lost control. Whether facing Senegal, Iraq, or Sweden, this midfield remained the platform that allowed every attacking star to shine. Behind them, perhaps the calmest defensive partnership left in the tournament: William Saliba and Dayot Upamecano. Two completely different personalities, one incredible partnership. Saliba almost never panics. Watching him defend feels effortless. He rarely dives into tackles, rarely loses his positioning, rarely gets beaten 1-against-1. He simply reads the game 2 seconds before everyone else. Alongside him stands Dayot Upamecano, powerful, aggressive, fearless. The defender who attacks strikers before they can attack him. Where Saliba provides elegance, Upamecano provides force. Together they have formed one of the tournament's strongest defensive walls. Even when Saliba briefly missed a match through injury, he returned stronger for the knockout stages. Because this France team doesn't just score goals, they know how to protect them. On the flanks, Jules Koundé and Lucas Digne complete one of the most balanced backlines in international football. Koundé's recovery speed and defensive intelligence make him one of the world's elite fullbacks. Meanwhile, Digne continues delivering dangerous crosses and world-class set pieces whenever France need another route to goal. And then, standing behind everyone, the final wall: Mike Maignan. Every champion needs a goalkeeper capable of winning matches alone. France have exactly that. His reflexes border on unbelievable, His command of the penalty area gives defenders complete confidence. His passing allows France to launch attacks before opponents even reorganize. Modern football demands goalkeepers who can do more than save shots. Maignan controls games. He organizes, he communicates, he leads. Sometimes he feels like France's 11th outfield player. When you step back and look at this squad, you begin to understand why so many people believe France could lift another World Cup. This isn't simply about world-class individuals, it's about how perfectly every piece fits together. A world-class finisher, the tournament's most creative playmaker, lightning-fast wingers, fearless young talents, a midfield built on intelligence and power, elite defenders, a world-class goalkeeper. Every department feels complete. Every substitution makes them stronger. Every opponent knows that surviving 90 minutes against France demands perfection. Because one mistake, one misplaced pass, 1 second of hesitation can completely change the game. The pain of losing the 2022 World Cup final still burns inside this generation. They haven't forgotten. If anything, that heartbreak has made them even more dangerous. This team doesn't play like a squad carrying pressure. They play like a squad carrying purpose. And perhaps that's the biggest warning to the rest of the world. This isn't the France that won in 2018. This isn't even the France that reached the final in 2022. This version is faster, deeper, more balanced, more ruthless. They are not simply chasing another trophy, they are chasing football history. And whether you're supporting Brazil, Argentina, England, Spain, Germany, or anyone else, one thing is becoming impossible to ignore. Nobody wants to see France on the other side of the bracket. Because this isn't the same France anymore. This is a nation reborn. A team built for revenge, a team built for glory, and perhaps a team built to become world champions once again. If you enjoyed this documentary and love cinematic football stories that go beyond the final score, subscribe to Era of 11 and join us as we uncover the stories, rivalries, and unforgettable moments shaping the road to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Until next time, football never forgets, and history is always waiting for its next chapter.